Hello everyone, welcome back to a brand new video, and today we're going to be looking at the state of North Carolina and doing what has become one of my favorite series, if that's even a word, that I've done on this channel, and is taking a look at redistricting of a state. So to start off with the current congressional map in North Carolina, this is actually a pretty, it's a decently fair map. It's not too gerrymandered. I would say it has a little bit of a Republican lean, but this is a map that the population deviation is terrible on, District 12, I'll turn on labels. District 12, which I think is this district right here. If these labels want to load, because this map is, District 12 has 71,000 people too many, whereas the first district right here has 64,000 people too little. So this is a pretty bad map in my opinion, and again, this map is lagging a lot for whatever reason, so we're just going to close it as soon as we can, but this is essentially what the current map is, and we have, just to take a look at statistics, it's not super competitive. There are a few competitive districts, but for what we have here is one majority minority district, which is a little less than you'd expect based on the Voting Rights Act, because of the rule that you have to have a sufficient amount of majority minority districts. But now we're going to be just starting to try to make VRA compliant districts. So just to kind of outline the Voting Rights Act, in the first 3 episodes, I think we've done Maryland, Oregon, as well as Colorado. We didn't really have to deal with the Voting Rights Act there, because those are all very, Maryland actually is pretty diverse, but Oregon and Colorado are both pretty white states. So, now that we're having a North Carolina state that is pretty diverse, especially they have a large community of black voters, we're going to have to deal with the Voting Rights Act here and, use it. So, first we're just going to do our Democratic gerrymander as we usually do, and, again, I'm going to try to make this VRA compliant. What I'm going to have to do is I'm just going to try to make one majority black district or district. So that's what I'm going to do here, because there only is 1 out of 13, which I don't think is sufficient in my opinion. There should be at least 3, but whatever. I guess we'll roll with it to make one majority black district in this congressional map here. So as you can see, this is actually where Charlotte is. This is, I think, Raleigh. Wait, no, Raleigh is in Wake County, right? Yeah, this is where Raleigh is. Durham is right there, and then I think you have Fayetteville and Greensboro, and then there's also Asheville, which I forgot existed in one of my previous videos, so I'm not going to forget that this time around. So, and then up here we kind of have some more rural black areas. So first we're just kind of connect these rural black areas. We're just going to, kind of grab these areas. So we've already got a pretty Democratic district. Obviously a majority minority district is going to end up being pretty Democratic. So just to kind of grab this, actually we're just going to, what we're going to do is we're going to see the statistics for this one. This first district is actually half and half, so we're just going to have to kind of grab in a lot of these precincts. And by the way, the precincts in North Carolina are terrible. They are huge, so we're going to definitely end up coming across a precinct that we're going to need to split at some point or another just to, that precinct was huge, so we're just going to see what this map looks like. Now, it's 52% minority. We're just going to have to try to make this, what are we going to do? We're going to have to get rid of a district that's, the precinct has 4,000 people. This is terrible. I hate this. But, so, we've got our majority black district right here. This is obviously a pretty blue district. It should stay solid for the Democrats. But now we can kind of start messing around with some really ugly maps here. We can turn off that in. Now we've got this district in place. We can kind of start to crack Charlotte. So essentially, like I said, packing and cracking is what we're going to be doing here. And first of all, we cannot take these precincts that are Democratic leaning in the more rural, the western part of the state for granted. We have to involve those somehow. So we're just going to try to grab these light red and Democratic leaning precincts over here, and then just kind of loop it in with Asheville, which actually is a decently Democratic area. It's the most Democratic area of all of this, kind of all of this rural western part. And actually, rural North Carolina is not super red. I mean, it's certainly more Republican than the rest of the state, but it's not as red as, other rural rural North Carolina is significantly bluer than rural Georgia, just to put that in perspective, even though North Carolina is a redder state than Georgia. Then we're going to try to just kind of head down to Charlotte while not touching kind of the border with South Carolina, which is going to be hard to do, but whatever. I don't think it'll be too hard. It'll just look a little ugly, which, again, gerrymander districts always look ugly. So that's to be expected. If you came here to watch me gerrymander a state and expect it to look pretty, unfortunately for you, that's not going to happen, and we're going to have to use these precincts right here. So we're now just going to solidify this district for the Democratic Party. Some of these districts are going to be very, very competitive, and that's to be expected. I mean, when you have these gerrymanders, it's to be expected. We're going to have to get. I'm going to get rid of a Republican precinct over here somewhere. Maybe it would make my life easier. No, that's a Democratic precinct, of course. Let's see. Let's try to find a Republican-leaning precinct. Let's see. Yeah, so I actually did find a Republican precinct to eliminate, and it's this one up here. But, with that being said, this district is going to be a lean Democratic district. It's a district that the Democratic Party would have won by using the 2012 to 2018 composite data, I think. Oh, until 2016, they don't have 2018 data. Yeah, that makes sense. So, again, district going to be a Democratic leaning district, D+8 or so. And now we're going to try to kind of crack the rest of Charlotte. So what we can do here is actually we can add in the parts of these counties and see if we can mess around with it enough here. Because these are still pretty Republican areas. So that is advantageous for us because we can now kind of just grab these last Republican areas over here. And we can just kind of, snake it over to Charlotte where we're just going to be adding these Democratic precincts that are going to slowly turn this district into a Democratic district. As you can see right here, it is going to get bluer and bluer. I'm just going to try to, again, this district's not going to look pretty because this is a, what I like to call a snake district where you just have, grabbing different precincts based on their partisan lean. And again, these are ugly, but they are very effective at diluting the influences of voters. So we've got our first snake district. It's the third district. This district is going to be even more competitive than the second district. And now we're going to head over to northern Charlotte, which I think if we fill the rest of Mecklenburg County, that's not going to be very good. And already this is a more, we kind of exhausted the base of Democratic votes in the county, so we're going to have to go over here and get some more Democratic votes. And then in this district, I can just tell is going to look terrible. I can just sense how bad this is going to look. So, yeah. And then I think I'm just going to go... Actually, you know what? This district actually is... This district's actually good, big enough already. So, there we go. It's basically just all of... Actually, I'm going to make this look a little better. This is basically just what we had left of Charlotte. So we successfully cracked... Oops, I just made a mistake. So we successfully cracked Charlotte into 3 Democratic districts. I don't know why that took so long for my brain to process, and we still have a lot of Democratic votes left. Now, in this case, first of all, the Republicans have complete control of North Carolina, of their redistricting process, because the governor, they passed a law in 2016 after he won that essentially just gave the state legislature all the power. Now, in this case, if the Democrats had power, the VRA would actually hurt them because it would force them to kind of pack a lot of black voters into this one very Democratic district. So it would hurt them in this scenario, but short term, with the Republicans in power, it does help them. Just thought I'd point that out. So now we are going to try to crack, I think this is Greensboro, or I don't even know, or it could be Winston-Salem as well. I'm not great with my North Carolina geography, but that will get better when the North Carolina episode of whatever that series is all about, the all about part for North Carolina comes out. That'll be cool. So yeah, I'm just going to try to pause this recording and see what I can do with the rest of this. I'm actually going to have to use all of it. Which did I just basically drew the whole county. I'm such an idiot. So, I'll get back to you when I finish this 5th Congressional District. Okay, so not only did I finish this 5th District, but I made it look a little prettier, at least on this side where it looks somewhat compact, and it just has this terrible, almost peninsula that just grabs a bunch of Democratic voters. So, we have this. Also, noticing the trend that these districts are a little small, But again, I mean, the current districts are like they have like an 18% population deviation, so I'm not exactly following a very tough act, I guess you could say. So I'm gonna try to make this district. Yeah, this district's lean red. So I'm gonna try to make this district actually. I was gonna say that's gonna try to potentially make it have a significant black population, but I might actually have to not factor in the VRA, especially because this district has got a lot more competitive than I thought it would be. But again, I might end up making a district that is majority black on accident, and that I could actually, because again, people think of black voters as, very Democratic, and again, black voters are the Democratic Party's largest voting bloc and most reliable voting bloc, but, you can find precincts even, probably in states like Alabama or something, where there are, these precincts are majority black, and they are Republican-leaning precincts. Are very, 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 very competitive. So, the notion that black voters only vote Democrat isn't completely true. It's again, don't get me wrong, black voters are very Democratic, but you have to remember that there are a lot of rural black voters that are more socially conservative that do vote Republican, which we could be seeing here in that we have some rural precincts that are predominantly black, that could be less Democratic than you'd think. So now I think this district is a little too blue at this point, so I'm actually going to get rid of some Democratic precincts and add some Republican ones, because we've got to think about the future. And in this case, for this gerrymander, the less Republican precincts, the better. I know someone's going to take that out of context. I can just feel it. But whatever. Okay, here we go. I think we'll be okay if we add one Democratic precinct. There we go. So we now have finished the 6th district, and we are going to move on to our 7th congressional district, the 6th. Again, pretty blue district relative to what we're working with here. And now we're going to try to split up. Actually, no, we're not going to do that. What we're going to do first is we're going to try to maximize and just get all of this, get all of this Democratic, all these kind of stray Democratic precincts we didn't use in the previous district, and just lump them all into one district that is going to be, kind of just the leftover Democratic areas that we didn't use. There are also going to be a few over here that we're going to grab, so this district's going to look terrible. I can just feel it. And this district's already decently big. Like, you just add in a few more precincts, and you've got yourself a congressional district out of just stray Democratic areas. That's mostly in it's probably under the illusion because these precincts are again, North Carolina precincts are huge. Like, each precinct is like 20,000 people for no apparent reason. I need to get rid of again, these precincts are terrible. So we now have yet another small district. I don't know why, but this district is honestly atrocious. I'm actually going to try to shed off a few Republican areas just to make room for these Democratic voters right here. So try to. Okay, well, I guess in this case we're going to be done with this district. So again, very ugly district that's going to lean Democratic. And now we're going to get to cracking. We did a lot of packing over here, and now we're going to do some cracking. Let's get cracking with. Okay, I sounded like a math teacher there. I don't know why. So that's going to be hard to walk off right there. But we've kind of come to the point where we've exhausted the Democratic base in the southern part of the state, and this is just kind of northern North Carolina. Actually, there's some still Democrats down south here, but and then out here, it's like these areas, like especially out here, are pretty red. Now, North Carolina, the geography of the state actually makes it so that there are kind of Democratic areas everywhere. I think actually this is one of the few states where like every single county has at least one Democratic precinct or at least one semi-competitive precinct. I mean, there's probably one county, but that's saying a lot, because when you think about it, there are probably a lot of counties you can think of where the precincts are just super, super partisan, and it looks really weird. All right, so I've come across, and I'm kind of now in an interesting situation where I think I have enough Democratic precincts to make one more Democratic district, right? Now, do I do that, or do I just kind of fill in the rest of the map? So the thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to pack the Republicans in. I'm actually going to make sure that these districts are contiguous. They all are. We're good to go. And just kind of eliminate the negative space we have, because there's still not a ton of... Whoa, I did not want to do that. That's not a fun idea. Okay, so because what I'm going to have to do here is I'm going to have to... There we go. This is a pretty good map. Okay, there we go. So this district over here is just kind of collecting the Republican areas left behind that other district. Then we're going to have to do kind of a similar thing over here. We're going to grab some exurban part. And this district right here that I'm making currently could actually be trending Democratic long term, although it wouldn't, it wouldn't really flip anytime soon. So yeah, we've got that. All right, there we go. So this district, again, a very ugly district. This district looks gerrymandered, like it's going in every which way. And then I'm going to actually try to make a Democratic district right here. So first I'm just going to kind of grab these stray remaining precincts over here, collect these Democratic precincts. In this district might not even be a Democratic leading district. This district could, just to put it out there, could end up being a somewhat competitive Republican leaning district. But, I'd rather do that for this gerrymander than just, make more safe Republican districts. So again, this district, I'm hoping it's at least competitive. Again, I could always be just miscalculating the amount of precincts I have left, and I'll have it just be a safe Republican district. But I'll get back to you when I'm finished with it to see. Okay, I'm back, and I have made a grave mistake. This map in this district is atrocious. I'll show you when I'm done with this last district. I'm just going to fill in these remaining areas. It's going to be one of the bigger districts, but just look at this. This district is terrible. I had to split a ton of precincts to get a very thin line that kind of extends all across these more Republican regions to grab some more Democratic precincts over here. And it's a very, very narrow Democratic district that looks... It's an eyesore. It's contiguous, but barely. So we do have a population deviation of 0.28%. There is a majority minority district, and District 14 actually does come close, which I think was this district right here. It actually does come close. So yeah, and then we can just kind of switch around some data sets here. We got a few ones. So first, using 2014 Census data, a lot of these districts are going to flip red. Just watch. Oh, actually only 2 flip red. So this district, I guess that's interesting. 2016 Attorney General race. This, again, solid Democratic performance. 2016 Senate race. A significant amount of districts do flip to the Republican Party. Of course, that majority minority district up here is the safest for the Democratic Party. In 2016, Clinton would have carried 10 of 14. If I'm correct, no, that's 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 10 of 14. And then taking a look at a Democratic victory, 2016 Gubernatorial Elections, it's probably the same thing, but probably 11-3 map, but the districts that for the Democrats are more secure. So yeah, and Cooper actually would literally lose this district. So this district looks like it's actually trending away from the Democratic Party. Then using composite 2012-2016, it's a narrow Democratic district, but in President, I think it's a narrow Republican district. But no, it's narrow Democrat. So I guess this is more kind of like a rural black district that, again, has significant minority population that Obama, for whatever reason, had appealed to. But even Roy Cooper in 2016, despite outperforming Obama, he still lost the district. So I think this is going to be it for a Democratic gerrymander, and this took a very long time. So I'm going to try to go quicker on the Republican map, which we're going to get started with right now. So with that being said, we're going to get started and just get going right here with our North Carolina Republican gerrymander. So like I said, we're going to have to try to make that VRA district again to make this map at least somewhat VRA compliant. Now, ideally, there would be, actually, to be completely fair, there should be 4 or 5 majority-minority districts, but due to the geography of the state, that's very unlikely without making a very ugly map. In fact, you could potentially make a map where you have a lot of majority-minority districts, but they would look terrible. So we're going to just do the one district that they have in the current map, and I don't think it would be struck down by the courts, really. So we're going to have to do that right now. We're just going to turn on counties with this map and kind of copy this. So we've got kind of these more northern counties that are, these are kind of rural black voters that do usually vote Democrat, but less really than other, black voters. So It looks like this district is gonna be. I think right now this is majority black. Oh no, it's not. It's very close though. So we're just gonna try to do what we did here and kind of fill it in with a big part of Durham. And yeah, this district's gonna very likely be safe for the Democratic Party. Which yeah, here we go. So yeah, we've got 4,900 deviation. These precincts are, like I said, and I've been complaining about this whole video. The precincts in North Carolina are abnormally big, so that's going to be a problem. So this district is 51% minority. It's not going to be majority black, but it's still VRA compliant. Now, we're going to get started with just kind of what we have for this current Madison-Cawthorn district. We can just turn partisanly here. So Mecklenburg is kind of the only, not Mecklenburg, that's a county. Asheville is the only Democratic part kind of this district, and we're just going to kind of try to loop it in with some more Republican areas to make this district as Republican as possible. Now, it's not going to be safe for the GOP. It's not going to, it's more than likely going to be kind of a likely GOP district, but I think this is pretty good. I'm going to try to get rid of the weakest GOP precinct right here, and here we go. So I think this district is pretty solid. So again, I think this district would actually be trending away from the Democrats because they're probably bleeding in rural support. Asheville, I don't know too much about the city politically speaking, but I don't think it would be super. This would be about an R+10 district. I don't think that unless the Democrats got some kind of wacky turnout from Asheville, they'd be able to flip the district. Whoops. So. Yeah, now going over to our next district. So we have Mecklenburg County, which is right here, which is about 1 million people. But we're just going to try to crack this into 3 districts. So first we're going to kind of add in these areas. And this district is going to be like pretty deep, right? And now we're just going to, partisan lean factor here. We're just going to try to add in as many of these Democratic precincts as we can and see where it gets us. So I want this district to be, obviously Republican leaning, but it might end up being very competitive. Whoops. Whoa. I lost track of how many people we were at right there. So it might end up being very competitive. But here we go. So this district's going to be a competitive Republican district. Now, this district might actually be trending red if the Charlotte suburbs decide to continue that bolt leftward. But again, I'm not sure because there are probably this area over here is more rural than we kind of have the suburbs over here because these precincts are so big that you kind of. You can't really tell. Whereas, you go to a state like California, which is terrible to redistrict, by the way. My computer fan goes crazy when I have a map of California open, but you can kind of see with the precinct. So we're gonna add this Caribous County, which is kind of an exurban county, and it obviously, like most exurbs, it's still bluer than most rural areas, but it still is semi-competitive. Right here, so this district right now actually has a Democratic lean. And you can just see it turning blue really quickly because of how big these precincts are. So we're just going to try to use some of these counties here, which I'm only doing that because it's not because I want this map to look good. I really could not care less because this map's never going to pass. But I mostly want to kind of make it make this a little easier for myself because of how crazy these gerrymanders are going to end up being. So yeah, we're going to find a precinct to eliminate right here. Yeah, so there we go. These districts, again, are kind of running really small. I'm actually going to try to make the next district big, because what happens when you have a bunch of districts that are really small is you end up with, one district that has, 5,000 people too many, which makes it the population deviation a couple points, or, a couple, decimal points bigger than it should be. So, yeah, they're just going to split off this. Whoa, that's still too democratic. So, it looks like we're actually going to have to split Charlotte 4 ways, which is going to look terrible. I was hoping to split it 3 ways, but it looks like I might actually have to split it 4 ways because, maybe not actually. You know what? I think what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to have a kind of a more suburban district that might actually flip that district might actually flip to the Democratic Party, but whatever, we're going to have to see. Again, this map is likely not going to pass. Now, North Carolina is interesting because, just for some background, because I know someone asked me about this in the comment section of a video that I did, and they were like, okay, well, why does Louisiana have split control in North Carolina? It doesn't, because, Roy Cooper's the governor, and that's actually because when Cooper was elected in 2016, it was actually a very close election. It was very contentious. They had to have they had to have a recount and audit. It was, I think, it was the closest. It's actually I think it was like Florida 2018 level close. It was very, very close, which is to be expected from a state like North Carolina, which is very, very competitive. But after Cooper won, I want to find a way to make this district a little big. So after Cooper won, the Republican-controlled state legislature was like, okay, well, I don't want him to be controlling our redistricting process, or to have even a say in our redistricting process. So they did take away that power that the governor had previously been entitled to in terms of having a say in redistricting. So that is unfortunate for the Democratic Party of North Carolina, but it's kind of it's politics at its finest, unfortunately. So yeah, I'm gonna have to. Here we go. This is good. So this district again more Republican leaning. We've now kind of split Charlotte basically three ways, but there's still a little bit of blue left here. So there we go. Actually, this district's that was annoying. So we basically split Charlotte three ways. Then you kind of have some more rural Democratic support over here, but I think we're just gonna round this out up here with this area, and this should be a pretty this will be fine. All right. Yeah, this district is going to be a little more Republican than I would have liked because of support that they're going to be bleeding, but I think this district should be fine. Actually, no, that's actually pretty good. So we've kind of, this district right here kind of just runs along these rural Democratic areas, plus some suburbs of Charlotte, which this district could easily flip. This is a dummy mandarin map, but whatever. I'm just trying to maximize the amount of GOP districts that we're going to have here. And I've actually been pretty good at getting these districts. Like, this has only taken about 8 minutes, and so Forsyth County, I'm just going to try to loop, because that's a Democratic county, I'm just try to loop that in with, actually, we don't have to do that because Forsyth was whiter than I thought. So now we have the luxury of just kind of having a pretty Republican district that we can just add in some of these Democratic precincts to kind of dilute their influence, you know how it works. And I'm going to actually pause the recording right here because I don't want this video to run too long. Again, these videos are pretty long, but I'm going to just make sure they don't run too long. I don't want this to be longer than half an hour, but it's going to end up being like 40 minutes, so I'm going to cut it right here, then I'll get back to you when I finish a few more districts. And I'm back, and I think what I'm actually going to do is, so I'm going to make a racially diverse, safe Democratic district, kind of just basically rally right here, District 11, and then we're going to make the rest of this map Republican. So this district's going to be around 40% minority, 60% majority, so not majority minority, but still pretty representative of the state of it's pretty representative of the state of North Carolina as a whole. I don't know why I couldn't speak for a second there, but yeah. And we're just going to round out this map with some more Republican districts to attempt to finish it, and it looks like this district is going to be very narrowly Republican, one of our more competitive districts, which is saying a lot, because this map is very competitive. And try to actually eliminate a Democratic precinct. Yeah. Which is, these precincts, you kind of have to play around with them a bit to find a good solution. So now we're just going to try to see what we can do. The Cumberland is the last Democratic county that we kind of have left that actually poses a threat to this map. And we're going to actually have to play our cards right here, because this district is pretty competitive. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm actually not too worried about this. So we're just going to finish this district off. There we go. That is going to be nearly Republican. We're just going to add in our last Republican precincts and see if the rest of this map is going to be resulting in a Republican district, which I assume it is. I don't think that there are really any Democratic areas left. In fact, it might actually be really imbalanced. We have like a safe Republican district over here, but I'm not really sure what we're going to have. So yeah, this district's going to be a little big. But yeah, like I predicted, this is going to be a safe Republican district. So I think this is going to do it. Now, you could probably make a map, actually make a map where you have maybe only one Democratic district, but I think all your Republican districts would be like very like as competitive as 10, 11, or 10, 12, 13. Some districts are more competitive than others. Districts 14, 8, and 2 are pretty solid for the GOP. But, districts, we kind of have some more suburban districts. Like District 10, I think, could easily flip. and I think the Democrats could actually be favored there. So we're going to take a look at some data sets. 2014 data sets. Interestingly enough, they stay blue. None of these Democrat districts actually flip. Yeah, so in the 2016 Attorney General race, the Democrats would have won these 3 really competitive districts right here. In 2016 Senate race, I think they would have flipped back. They did. Actually, District 1 actually gets a little more competitive in 2016 Senate race. I think Hillary Clinton would have carried 5 of these districts, if I'm not mistaken. No, she would have narrowed it. Like, how close is District 10? Let's see how close District 10 is. District 10, in 2016, it would have been a 0.4% Trump district. The governor race, a lot of these districts are going to fall down. I think Cooper might have won. Interestingly enough, okay, this gerrymander is actually pretty solid, because if Roy Cooper only would have won 4 of these 14 districts, this is a pretty good Republican gerrymander. Although he would have came really close to winning 12 and 13. Composite, this is where we were. This is what we were working with. I don't know why that opened up. I think I opened MacBox on accident. And then president here. So yeah, I think it's going to be it for this North Carolina Republican gerrymander right here. And then I'm just going to really quickly go over a fair map I made, because I'm kind of running out of time here. I don't want to make this video run too long. So this is a fair map that I made off camera. So I think there are 2 majority-minority districts, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, there are 2 majority-minority districts, but they're both pretty close. Although District 12 kind of makes up for it, because it comes very close right here. So this district pretty close to being majority-minority. And then districts 1 and 2 are majority-minority, as well as 3 is really close. So District 1, District 2, and then District 3 is close. Then you just have, some more suburban Democratic-leaning districts like 5 and 6 that are competitive but still Democratic-leaning. This is basically Madison Cawthorn's district right here. You can't, what you could do to make this look not terrible is kind of split this part up, but overcomplicates things. So you just kind of have an Asheville-based district where the Asheville Democratic votes get diluted, which is going to happen no matter what. And then you have some coastal, more Republican-leaning districts. District 13 has a decent majority, or has a decent minority population, specifically black voters. District 14 does not, which makes District 13 less, or a little more competitive than District 14. District 10 is kind of Charlotte suburbs and extra. Then you kind of go up here to, I believe, Winston-Salem. No, that's not Winston-Salem, and that was terrible. And then District 3 is just a super Democratic district where you kind of have Winston-Salem and I think Greensboro, if I'm not mistaken, although I could always be wrong. I really need to sharpen up on my North Carolina geography, which I think I mentioned this earlier. I'm going to do that in my North Carolina video, which is going to come sometime in the future. But I think it's going to do it for this video. This was a widely suggested video, and I'm going to pin another comment asking you which state I should redistrict next. And again, if you enjoyed, hit like. These videos do. I usually don't like to ask for I do usually say it at the end of my videos, but I turn to a robot where I just have a 3-sentence spiel that I do. But these videos do take a while to make. Obviously, playing with DRA is not a chore for me. But again, if you could show your appreciation by commenting, leaving a like, all that jazz, help me out a lot. So that's going to be it for this video. Tell me what you think in the comments down below. Goodbye.